Well, through our Battling for New Orleans series, we're examining how the city brought down violent crime rates dramatically.
Tonight, Tan Trong explores the one element local law enforcement says is critical to making the city safer.
The New Orleans Police Department made gains in violent crime reductions in areas such as its homicide clearance rate. For 6 out of the last 8 years, the NOPD says it's cleared less than 50% of its homicide cases. In August, its clearance rate was 76%. Detective James Fife has been on a personal streak of clearing 18 consecutive homicides. He reluctantly talked about that streak when he sat down with us over the summer. Detective Fife says better use of technology is helping the force solve more crimes, including murders.
We always spend a lot of time just canvassing for video in the city. We get a lot of help from those real-time crime center cameras throughout, greater New Orleans, and just try and piece it all together.
It may be hard to measure, but Fife says he's noticed more involvement from the community, something law enforcement constantly cites as one of the most crucial factors in solving crimes.
I think what we're seeing is more public buy-in and cooperation and maybe more witness testimony.
More people wanting to talk.
I think so. Just in my short term in homicide, last 3 years, I think I've noticed a slight change to our benefit in that regard. And that could just be speaking to NOPD's work towards consent decree milestones and maybe building that public trust back.
The importance of tapping into the community is something that keeps coming up.
Community members are one, staying on the scene when a crime occurs and pointing the finger at the person that committed the crime because they believe we care about the right person getting arrested and that right person will get a fair trial. And they're also coming to court. We haven't had to use material witness warrants. And so there's a bit more of the team mentality of public safety with community working with electeds and working with public servants to get it done.
When community has a seat at the table, they feel like they own the situation.
The New Orleans Police Department is doing more with less, and part of the way they're doing that is through leveraging technology, but they're also doing more with less because they have the cooperation of the community.
Melanie Talia is a founding member of the NOLA Coalition, an organization that formed within the business and civic communities 2 years ago as a response to the city's surging violent crime. The coalition's mission is to find ways to not only reduce crime, but to make those reductions lasting.
Policing was important for the near term, but we were dealing with generational issues.
To take on those generational issues, the coalition's leadership says it had to make a financial investment in the community. The coalition set a goal of raising $15 million within 3 years and give that money to local nonprofits, especially ones working with kids. According to the coalition, it's raised more than $8 million in the past 2 years.
So if you look at the money that was spent in the first year, that went to over 5,300 young people who were served in mentorship programs, in sports programs, in job training programs, in mental health programs. We'll never know the exact correlation between those services and the reduction in crime, but what I can say is that both in spirit and in dollars, we have focused on our youth, and over the last year, juvenile homicides have declined 71%.
Since our interview, updated stats from the NOPD show juvenile homicides dropped by 1 point to 70%.
Children are more involved now. You have more children playing the games at home. Now children get more involved in sports, more involved in STEM, organizations like myself, and they're just getting more active now, and I think that helps.
Coach Derek Henderson runs a nonprofit called Don't Stop Dreaming. His office is lined with countless pictures of players he's mentored or coached at Harrell Park in Pigeontown. That includes Super Bowl champion Odell Beckham Jr.
The far right is Odell Beckham. He played here when he was 8 years old. Over there on the left, that's Aeneas Williams. He's a Hall of Fame.
Coach Henderson has worked with kids for decades, taking them on field trips to places like the Infinity Science Center, the Air Base in Belle Chase, and the DA's office. He says until recently, he never got financial help.
I was using my car note. I was using my house notes to make this program work every summer, just so we can do field trips.
After the NOLA Coalition formed, he received a grant for $2,500. It's a relatively small amount of money compared to the millions of dollars the coalition has raised, but to Henderson's nonprofit, it makes a big difference.
It gives you the opportunity to do things that these children weren't able to do in the past. at the field trips that we've been attending, these children couldn't get a chance to see it if it wasn't for people like GNO's organization make it affordable that we can do these things.
Coach Henderson has been around long enough to see the city's crime rate go up and down before. But he says this current decline seems different.
Because we have more opportunities. See, 2 years ago, we didn't have the same opportunity and the leadership that we have now in the city, so that also helps.
It seems like you have more confidence in what's
Yes,
happening.
sir. Yes, sir.
Why do you think that is for you?
Well, because some of the people that's in leadership now you can talk to, like Michael Hex and people at GNO. I have a relationship built with those guys, and we form now a family, and it's working for the community with the youth.
No one we interviewed in our Battling for New Orleans series pointed to just one policy or strategy that brought about the city's dramatic drop in violent crime. They told us to zoom out and place additional pieces like the state police's specialized unit, Troop NOLA, in the overall puzzle of public safety. They encouraged us to look at how the shutting down of a 24-hour tire shop can affect the number of shootings. And they directed us to a coach whose work with kids shows us crime fighting isn't always about kicking in doors. How long this lower level of crime can last is anyone's guess, but there's a growing consensus that for any crime initiative to truly work, it requires the community. In New Orleans, Tan Trung, Fox 8 Local First.
To see all 3 reports from our Battling for New Orleans series, visit our website, fox8live.com.